Well, hello. Welcome. This is Broward Born Sportsman. So this is Captain Rich here with you with another episode of, you guessed it, lobstering. So first one was a hit with the mini season, so we're gonna show you some of the more we come along the way. We're creeping up on almost 100 lobsters, so got plenty of content, so I'm really hoping that you guys like this stuff. So again, let's go lobstering. Don't want to waste your guys' time. Let's get right to it. You'll see some hits. You'll see some misses too, right? YouTube might be a highlight reel, but we're going to show it all. So come along and hope you guys enjoy it.
Just chuck it, you're good.
And welcome underwater, guys. I want to show you guys something I highly suggest. Whenever you first get in the water, it's definitely best practice to check your anchor. You can see here it was pretty well stuck under a rock. The last thing you ever want is for that anchor to be skipping on the bottom, and in Broward County it's really rocky in some areas, so I have seen it skipping and not stick. So good news here, it was stuck, but definitely something I highly suggest. It's a pro tip to check when you first get in. Here I'm swimming towards the ledge, kind of towards the reef. We usually anchor up slightly on the side of it. You know, you don't want that anchor to be all up on the reef and kind of hitting any of the corals. And I usually have a lot of success in this area. Not the biggest lobster, but you see quite a bit under these rocks. So you can see here there were a few under there, so got lucky and watched me catch some lobster. Moving on to lobster number 2. So from a technique standpoint, what I usually like to do is kind of scare that lobster out into the open space. Makes it way easier for me to use that snare and get it behind him. Kind of similar to a tickle stick. Some people use a tickle stick and a net. Different technique, but same idea. You notice this one too only had one antenna, so most likely it had seen a human being before. Thankfully I was the lucky one to get him in my bag. Also, one thing I wanted to talk about was you hear the little noise that it makes. That's actually something that is kind of next to the horns. It kind of rubs on something and makes that noise. On the next episode, I'll show you guys kind of how it makes it. It's really cool, but essentially, you know, it's its distress signal and how it communicates to the other lobsters nearby. For this lobster, I tried to scare it out of the other side of the rock. Sometimes they're really deep in there and too hard to pull it out towards me, so I kind of kicked her to the other side of the hole. You can see she came out into that open space. It makes it so easy for me to get that snare behind it. She kind of walked right into it, and definitely the ideal way to catch them. But unfortunately, this one was not a keeper. This one was pregnant, so if you look under here, you can see those orange eggs are already on her tail. When they're displaying those eggs, they are protected for good reason, so put her back in the hole, wanted her to stay safe, and Hopefully she can turn those eggs into thousands of lobsters for me to catch in the future. This next part was quite a treat. You can see I'm looking under the ledge, going kind of along the reef, and out of the corner of my eye, I kind of saw it and definitely got a little bit spooked by me and my bubbles, but it was a sea turtle. You know, one of the more majestic animals we see down there. You can see swimming away. Always cool to see. And in this next spot, I finally found the honey hole. So, whole bunch of lobster were in this area. Some were a little bit small, so you'll see I leave some of them just because, you know, you can tell after a while if they're big enough or not. So, you can watch here, so much action and just so much fun when you find one of these. Enjoy. Here I am putting that lobster in my bag, but something really cool happened. I've heard of this before. Look at this grouper. He is so smart. He is following me, and I've heard of this happening before. They know that whenever they see these divers, that these legs will just kind of fall off of the lobster. Nothing intentional, but it just kind of happens when you're catching them. But those groupers are so smart, they'll follow you and just kind of eat those scraps. So, heard of that before, but so cool to see. And again, what a smart animal. Definitely one of the smarter predators we see down there. This one, you can see I make the mistake of not pulling that snare tight enough during the first try. So if you don't tighten it all the way, they definitely have an ability to get away. So something to be conscious of. You really want to tighten it up, and usually it only happens on the smaller lobster, but lesson learned, and thankfully got this guy on the second try. One thing that might surprise people is you might think you get one lobster and they all kind of scatter, but they really feel super safe when they're in that reef. So I definitely have seen it before where they will, but more often than not, once they're in their hole, they'll kind of stay there. You can see a few of these here I was not able to get on the first try, you know, just not pulling it tight enough, but you know, a little bit of manhandling, getting them in the right spot, and eventually I was able to get a few of these guys. This last one was a little too small. Again, you can kind of tell after you've seen enough legal ones what's a good one and a bad one. So left that guy to grow a little bit more, and hopefully I can get him when he's a little bit bigger and a little bit healthier. For this last lobster, same idea, right? Let's use that snare, similar to a tickle stick, kind of scare him out into the open area. And I don't know what was wrong with me this day, but this guy sensed my snare, so you can see he was pretty smart. He tried to get back into that hole. Got a good look at him here once I was able to kind of scare him out. But he was smart. You know, he was super active, moving left and right. Not all of them are this smart, but you gotta appreciate it. But again, I don't know what was wrong with me this day, but tried to get that snare behind him and unfortunately did not pull it tight, couldn't get the grab. He got back in there. So smart. So let him grow. Hope you guys enjoy the content, and as always, appreciate you guys watching.